Hey, and we're live. I found a studio mode, which is what I've been looking for in Streamlabs the whole time, where I can actually edit stuff without having to do it live on the stream.
Hey, nice.
Didn't even know that was a thing. I got a I got a tablet over here open with Streamlabs on it and an app. Supposedly I can like adjust stuff. I don't know. I don't think it's set up really well because what I would like for it to do would be to change scenes back and forth for like how I set my camera angles and stuff up.
You can do some wild edits live.
Well, yeah, well I can like I can like set my windows up and stuff because like I didn't set my window capture up because you have to change it almost every time that I do a stream. I have to set up the window capture for because I pull out a whole new Chrome window. Uh, it's just a headache, and I'm sure there's a
You do
lot
it.
easier ways to do it. I'm too
Yeah,
dumb to mess with
there
it.
always is, man. That's what YouTube's for.
Yeah, I really so there's another program that I want to try to use, and I keep meaning to start it, but I always get sidetracked. But it's called StreamYard, and they actually have so like how we're talking now with two windows, and then like you hit a transition button, and it just immediately shrinks everybody to the side, and then you can bring up like a Chrome page or whatever. Um,
Yeah, sounds rad.
that's what I want. Heavens.
Someday.
Someday. Man, how's your day been? How's it going? Oh, I guess I can do the intro since the podcast started. Welcome to Intelligent Aces, episode number 14. I am your host, Main Ace Chase. Alongside me, longtime gaming buddy, Bushwicked is in the house tonight. He's been in chat several times, and now he's joined us on the podcast because Eli is taking care of his mom on her birthday. So,
What a jerk.
so anyway, that's
Thanks for having me on.
yeah, man. Thanks for coming on. Uh,
We're gonna talk some shit or what?
we're gonna try to talk some shit. Got some stuff here about GDC is happening. I guess it's been happening the last couple days. Some hilarious DEI stuff coming out from that, which is it's kind of a weird hot topic time for that because and the gamers are just rejecting it, straight up rejecting it right now because they don't
The only
want
thing I saw is
they
there
just
was
want good games.
protesters outside. Was that
Well, yeah,
were these like protesting Gaza or something, or was it like
I don't know.
anti-woke stuff?
I've
I
got to
hadn't seen it.
watch. I've got to watch the. I said I'm just kind of getting pieces. Hey, promotional channels or viewers, welcome in bots.
Hey,
Nothing.
bots are always welcome here. You should have a bot on as a co-host one of these days.
Well, I'm trying to do that with Aya.
With
That's the
Aya.
plan, but
Yeah, she's too lazy. The chat bots have a lot of get up and go.
here's my ban button. I had to find it.
Guess I could have done that. Am I modding your chat? I don't think so.
I don't know if I've modded you in this one. It's. I mean, I no, you're VIP. You
All right.
can't be VIP and mod at the same time. One or the
I
other.
mean, this whole DEI thing, to me, like, it's gonna be overblown, like, on both ends. And, like, people are going to be saying things are DEI when they're not. And think people are going to be saying, like, people who are upset about anything are just racist, etc. So it's just going to be a lot of people talking past each other again.
Yeah, yeah, and that's the sad point because it's like, you say I don't I I don't care if the main character is gay. I don't care if the main character is black. And you're like, well, you're racist. It's like, no, I literally don't care. It can be whatever as long as the story's good. That's kind of where I'm at. And the thing is, and the only reason it gets aggravating is because they keep forcing it in your face. Here like this, here like this, here like this, and just keep shoving it in your face. And that's
Part
when
of it, I
it
think,
gets
is
annoying.
also like, because I feel like we get into this kind of mode where we believe like all the games that are coming out are trash when like The reality is there are good games. There's just like way more games than there used to be, and a lot of them are trash.
Yeah.
So like if you want to see the negative, you can conclude that everything coming out is trash. And I think you can do the same thing with DEI. It's like there's plenty of games that aren't like cramming political messages down your
Yeah.
throats, but because of social media and the way it's engineered, like we're going to be shown everything that is shoving it down our throats and kind of like give you this
Yeah. And
biased
that's,
perspective that that's dominating, when it's not really dominating, it's just like existing.
and that's how some of these channels get clicks, right?
Yeah,
They
yeah, of
they
course.
focus on these things, and so that's what you see the most. And honestly, it is something to talk about too, because um, yes, we see there's a lot more games coming out, but the thing that I'm liking right now is we've got independent developers or double A studios like is it Take Two? Uh, Take Two is Pal World, right? Or no?
I don't know. I
Well,
don't know
Pal
Power
World was
World. I
like
know
was like
Arrowhead made Helldivers. That's
Arrowhead.
extremely
Yeah, Arrowhead was. I'm trying to think of that
successful.
one, and then Pocket Pair. That's what it was. Pocket Pair was Pal World.
Yeah,
These more independent studios or stuff, and these are the games that people are liking because they're actually making games for gamers.
yeah.
You know what I mean? That's and honestly, like because of the goodwill that Helldivers is getting from the developers, people are letting like the game's kind of buggy right now, and they try to patch it, and then more bugs pop up, and like it's the name of the game, and this all online, uh,
Yeah.
running between two platforms. I'm like, I'm not really blaming them that it's buggy, but like it seems like they
They get a lot
fixed.
of benefit of the doubt for
Yeah,
sure.
they're they'll throw a patch out, and then like they supposedly like patch the mechs, right? Where you if you're turning,
Stop rocketing yourself.
yeah, if you turn your hitbox, like your missile comes out sideways or something, and that's how you blow
Yeah.
yourself up. Well,
Oh, that no.
supposedly they fixed it, and it just it's still bugged, like not
Yeah.
actually patched or
Yeah.
anything.
I blame Super Earth. They're shoddy
Yeah,
manufacturing.
right, right. But I keep seeing all these like new things supposedly coming. Um, the new enemy type is coming. The new um, but they're still having problems as well. Like the actual universal galaxy war thing is like just not working right now.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, with the DEI and these corporations, I mean, the reality is, like, after George Floyd and some other, like, really big political moments in our culture, everybody was like, you really have to do something this time. No more just hashtags. Like, what the fuck are you actually doing that's going to change something? Everyone was demanding this on
yeah,
these corporations, especially. And so I think they took it on seriously. Like, okay, we're going to hire this DEI person. We're going to really make sure that representation is like in our games. We're really going to, but in my opinion, like making a woman of color main character like has dick all to do with George Floyd and the circumstances of people like George Floyd. So I'm just like, to me, it's like fake activism. It's like activism for social media and to make sure that you don't get in trouble by everybody. So it's like, and then all the characters are written in the modern day power dynamic of oppressor, oppression, oppressor, victim dynamic, as opposed to like writing good human relatable stories that are just about like the hero's journey. Instead, they all have to like be upset about the power dynamic. You know what I mean? And just like it's just so obvious all the time that they make the characters unrelatable. And like that's not the case with traditional, X-Men or Superman. Superman wasn't like, I'm going to represent the white experience. It was about humanity, and it was about sacrifice, and it was about stoicism. Like it was about these like larger values, not these like particular identity values. So the like they could make black Superman, black trans gay Superman, and if his story was focused on humanity and these big arc realities that like the Superman uh, tropes were developed around, you would still love it. But
yeah,
instead, it's like I need to react to all this cis het normative, which just alienates people, and it's like it's just not. And I think it actually it makes more enemies than it creates allies. So
yeah.
it's just sort of like the wrong move on both ends.
I totally agree with that. My thinking, like talking about Superman. I'm an amateur. No, I'm not even an amateur. I'm a theoretical writer. I write in my head a lot of things, and I do a lot of stories and stuff. But like even now, like if I come up with a story or whatever, I try to include a trans or a gay or whatever I can. But I try to do it in a way that would make sense to the story and not be forced. You know what I mean? Just to be like, well, even I can do it. You know what I mean? Like even I can try to write it this character in better than how some of these other people are being portrayed. And I think it goes to there's a lot of talk about how writers are these days because they're all like out of college and stuff. For all the classical writers and a lot of the like turn of the century entertainment was like after the World War and stuff like that, where people actually had lived experience. Now you have a bunch of
Mm.
people that like go to high school, then they go to college, and then they graduate, and then they start writing. They don't actually have any
Yeah.
lived experience, so
Yeah.
they try to write about what their lived experience is, which is basically Twitter. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that's what they've.
Well, and a lot of these stories have been told so thoroughly that like continuing to tell Star Wars stories and continuing to tell Batman again and again and again and again, it's like you as a creative, you want to evolve the story so it's something new, but it might be out of gas. You know what I mean? And like Friends, I never liked Friends, but it went on like 10 seasons too long, Like the Matrix was good. The first one was good because it was the hero's journey. And then the additional movies were just like schlock, you know. And it's like some of these franchises like Star Wars like should exist in a time and for a certain amount of movies and then be done. And then like tell a new story. But they really just like milk it and milk it and milk it and milk it. And like you hear the X-Men culture war that's like, you know, they're making X-Men political now, and the retort is that like X-Men has always been political. Just like true, it always has been political. But it was like a larger arc of humanity and, you know, uh the oppressed people at the time. It was very much a commentary on race and even LGBT people, people who were kind of like outcasts of society. It was.
Mhm.
But like that doesn't mean like whatever your political interests are should be injected into the game because it was about politics. Like it was at a certain view length and it had a certain perspective that should be echoed to a tighter degree. And also like sometimes these franchises just should be over now. They
Yeah,
weren't meant
well,
to be retold for 100 years.
I agree, but I mean, there's certain things that like maybe we shouldn't reboot or whatever all the time. Um, that's like how the kind of like how the MCU is. Everybody's talking like, no, the only way the MCU will be good again is if they reboot it all. I'm like,
You almost
well,
said MCU.
I did almost say MCU, which is what it is right now. Uh, and the thing is, like, I don't know, maybe we should just let it rest for a while. Like,
Yeah.
as far as the X Men thing goes, like the X Men have kind of been out of the spotlight for a few years. Like they've had some more recent movies, but they weren't really like super well received. So like it could be a time for like another good X Men series to come around.
The animated series trailer looked kind of cool. I was like, I think I would watch that. Like, I'm
Yeah,
not totally
well,
sure what everyone's upset about, but
I'm not either. Well, I mean, I heard internet outrage when I jumped on the
right.
bandwagon. I don't know. It could be good. Supposedly, and I didn't hear about it, but they fired the showrunner. Um,
Oh, that's never good.
uh, for he did the first two episodes and then they fired him. He wasn't even allowed to come to the screening or to the premiere or whatever.
Do you know what
Um,
it was about a little bit?
well, supposedly, from what I heard, was there's a couple theories. I don't think they actually said, but like I guess he has an OnlyFans apparently, and apparently some of his OnlyFans content might have got a little too spicy for Disney's liking. I guess that's one
Is
theory.
X-Men Disney? I guess it's Marvel.
Yeah, yeah, it's on Disney. It's a Disney Plus show. Um,
Ah,
and that's one theory. And then the other theory is like because he worked on The Witcher. I forget what DeMayo, I think was this guy's name. DeMayo, something DeMayo. He worked on The Witcher, but apparently he was more. he wanted to go more along with the original story was. He sided with Henry Cavill, and they were kind of
Mm.
fighting for trying to make it more follow more closely
So
to
he might
to
be
the
one of the
source
good
material.
ones, is what you're saying.
Yeah, supposedly he might be because I just heard he got fired, and there was like all the uh, thumbnails were like a naked picture of him on the side or some crap. So I was just like, oh, maybe this is it can't be
Yeah.
good. But he could have been one of the good ones, and also a California idiot too if he has his OnlyFans and all this other stuff. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that just doesn't feel like that's a professional thing you should keep.
If true, unsubstantiated. These are rumors.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think he does actually have an OnlyFans, but I don't know if it was like for because OnlyFans is it's like a Patreon. It's like a subscribe deal where you can subscribe. It's
Yeah.
not. It's been branded for more pornographic thing
Right.
nowadays, but that's not exactly what it's for. It's supposed to be like
Sure.
and I guess that's what it's become now, but that's not what it
Yeah.
was.
Porn dominates everything.
Yeah,
The internet.
sadly, this is true. Of course, well, Texas has signed. Arkansas had already signed a deal where you have to provide age verification for certain websites. Texas just signed it in. I think there's several other states that are doing it
North
too.
Carolina has it. Yeah.
Yeah, which it's. I mean, that there's some people who are like, well, blah blah. Kids are still going to see it. Yeah, that's true. I mean, if they want to find it, they can still find it. That's not that big of a
Yeah.
deal.
I
But
mean, porn's not great.
I think turning
It's not
down
great for
I
people.
think turning down some of the more popular ones is not going to hurt anything. It may hurt the more popular ones, but who cares? I don't care about like the big business of
Yeah.
Pornhub. I don't care about
Yeah. It's not like they're like helping anyone.
it. No.
They're just getting rich and
No, and you hear
creating dopamine addicts online.
and see I see a lot of these there's a lot of VTubers because I still follow a lot of VTubers and there's a lot of Twitch channels, Twitch people that are very pro sex or whatever, porn or this or
Yeah.
that and
I know
it's
the
like
type.
it's not it's not healthy, really not. They talk, oh yeah, it's perfectly healthy. It's like, no, it's not. You actually do like any research, like just a Google search, you can see that like that literally rots your brain. It literally rots your brain. It's
Yeah.
super addictive. Uh, and it's just a constant dopamine hit because you can just keep clicking, and
Yeah.
it's terrible.
It's ruined many good relationships.
Yeah, I agree. I just, I don't
Not
know,
mine.
man. Yeah. uh, So yeah, the DEI, the GamerGate 2, which there's a lot of stuff still around Sweet Baby Inc. Now the gaming journalists have kind of rallied behind them. And some of the game developers are rallying behind the Sweet Baby Inc. thing.
Yeah.
Which to me it's like it it seems like a bad call. Bad call. Nobody likes them. Everybody's hated this now.
I mean, but
Sadly.
like a journalist I like on Twitter pointed this out, and he's going to do a Gamergate podcast soon. Um, Jesse Single, and it was basically like, has anyone found like a direct like they made this choice and that's why this game is bad, like directly like caught red-handed anything, and there hasn't. It's just been like they've
Right.
been involved in these games that suck, and we kind of think that they were the ones that changed this or made this that way. And I'm not saying,
Right.
they're doing good things. I think they're kind of like a leech in the industry. They're kind of like the social media advisors that we have in corporate media companies that come in and just like tell you to
Right.
like, email influencers and write down and, just like bullshit jobs. These are bullshit jobs. Like nobody
So okay.
needs to show their content to a Gestapo group to be like, is this too offensive? Like that shit is just like, not,
I'm
it's unnecessary.
gonna
These
show
sensitivity readers, these special people that know all the, you know, they follow all of the latest crimes, social justice crimes, so they can stop you from like stepping in it or whatever. It's just like
so
it's a racket.
I
So I
googled
don't give a shit if they
yeah.
succeed or
Well,
fail. But
I googled what Sweet Baby Inc. does. What that's what I googled. It pops up first
consulting
thing.
narrative. Sorry,
Yeah,
go ahead.
founded by former Ubisoft developers, including scriptwriter Kim Belair and product manager David Bedard. The company consults on video game narratives during development to promote diversity, equity, and inclusion within game narratives and studios. And that's the biggest problem that people have with these games, which is why they say that Sweet Baby Inc. is the cause of it.
Yeah.
Because they the problem they have with the games is how the narrative is told through this diversity and stuff like that, which and
We
it's
just
like
don't know like what lines they
right,
added,
yeah,
like
I don't
what
know if they
characters they had
right,
literally changed.
yeah,
Like they're getting the brunt of everybody's annoyance with this stuff. It's
right.
like Sweet Baby Inc. is becoming the magnifying glass to
Well,
like pour everyone's annoyance into. It's like not totally fair.
the biggest thing that's got them right now is that the people that work for Sweet Baby Inc. are attacking all the people that are criticizing them,
Yeah,
and that's what causes the flame up. That's the biggest
totally.
issue
Yeah,
right now is they're going like, you can't say this is harassment and all this stuff. You should take down the Steam community. You should do this. You
yeah,
should do that. And then they just come out with like the craziest hot takes on Twitter, and,
yeah.
and it's like, yeah, yeah, Twitter is a cesspool for the most part. I'll agree. Most all social media, but you know what I mean. Like
It's
that's
the
still
tactics.
yeah,
It's the tactics that are like annoying and wrong most of the time because like things that are woke or even like a lot of DEI, to me, I'm like, look, if it's been like all white guys as main characters in video games for like a really fucking long time, and you can look at the stats and be like, it's kind of like ridiculous. We need to have some variety. I'd be like, yeah, cool. I think most people are like, yeah, for sure. Like, and I don't know what the exact math is of that. But I think most people agree that like you do want to have, you want to mix it up. You don't want it to be all white guys. But the problem is these tactics of like, you know, calling anybody who doesn't like it racist, the trying to get these people canceled and their Steam accounts pulled, the coverage from these gaming journalist sites that don't even cite the harassment from these companies. Like they're just being very one-sided. And to me, I think mostly like the goals, most people like agree on the goals but totally disagree with the tactics, like the
yeah.
dumping on people and the harassing of individuals and the name calling and the isms. Like people are fucking sick of that shit.
Yeah, and that's the thing, man. They basically turned it into a us versus them thing, and they're like, "This is our line. This is," and and I think the other side's doing it too. This is the line. We're drawing a line, and then they've drawn a line, and now it's just a us versus them thing. And there's no winners or
Yeah.
losers here. Not really, I guess, but like it's just like
Well, now it's like every time there's a black female in a video game, they're like DEI, and I'm like,
yeah.
maybe I don't know. Like,
Which is
you
what
know what I
there's
mean? Like, you're gonna get a lot of false positives under this like culture war uh, climate.
and the thing is like it's just well and the biggest thing that bolsters people that are against this is because these games, these movies, these shows have been consistently bad. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like,
that's not helping at all.
yeah, you know what I mean? Like, so,
Yeah.
and I think a lot of these people that are screaming, like, just make good stuff. Like, that's all we don't care if they're black. Just make good stuff. Like,
Some people care, but yeah.
yeah, yeah, that's true. But I don't know, man. It's a weird thing for me because I'm with you. It just seems
It
so
feels like propaganda because they take
yeah.
beloved, popular, very profitable franchises and then like do the work inside of those franchises. Like, I think for me, one of the most egregious was the Star Wars. I forget which episode it was, but with the purple haired, uh, like leader, and she like left the pilot totally in the dark about what her plans were.
Mm,
So he goes off and tries to like not. He like goes and tries to make sure everyone doesn't die, and then she treats her like complete. She treats him like complete shit, like he's just an idiot, toxic male, and I'm just like,
yeah.
it's just like so obvious. Like I know you guys feel like you need to make up for the history of the white savior trope or whatever you feel like you're trying to like get revenge on, but like you're writing these characters to be actual assholes and like not good humans.
Yeah.
and then just expect because they're female or whatever, like they're the good guy and the guy's the bad guy because he's a white male, and it's just like
Yeah.
you're just not helping yourself, like
No,
and it should be like we should be making more new things. Like that's
yeah,
the crux of the problem is like stop milking Star Wars, stop milking Marvel, stop milking all of these things for every penny
yeah,
and then like propagandize within these franchises. Like make your own fucking all girl whatever superhero movie. Like
yeah.
it doesn't have to be Marvel. You don't have to turn Superman gay. Like you could make new shit that's good.
Yeah.
Stop like trying to you can just tell they're trying to be social engineers and it's obvious and people are fucking annoyed with that shit.
Yeah. And the thing is, the craziest part is because you see a lot of pushback and stuff. So Ghost of Tsushima come out on PC here recently, and it sparked up the outrage again, or the outrage again, because they're like, it was, um, why did I just forget the name of the publisher? Not the publisher, but the game studio.
Sucker Punch.
Sucker Punch. Yes, thank you. Which is a Western developer, and this was kind of like an homage to like old school samurai show movies, and like this was they were all big fans.
Kurosawa.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
all big fans of this, and they did a lot of research, and they went to the places and studied these places and talked to actual Japanese historians and stuff about this, and got this love letter to Japan is what they wanted to try to do, try to make this. They used
Yeah.
Japanese actors. They used, I mean, all these
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
And then they're like, well, it's super racist because a Western company made this game. And I'm like, what are you even talking about?
Yeah.
Like you can't even like, we love you. We love your culture and all this stuff. This is what I think. This
Yeah.
is my expression to, to appreciate your culture or whatever. And everybody in Japan loves it. It was great over there. Like it was, but it's these crazy people over here. They just got brainworms, man. I don't know. Like
It's
they can't,
performative. It's
yeah,
like not real.
can't accept any kind of reality to me. Like
It's just like content milling. Like
yeah,
it's not real.
I can
But
see that.
the problem is that the advertisers all left TV and cable and they went to the internet. So now they're beholden to the attitudes on the internet, which are predominantly these people that complain. So
Yeah,
these corporations are terrified to not like follow the rules that these activists have like moved on.
it's
So
it seems to me that they would have learned because I mean, like, there's been a couple boycotts and stuff. They're like, if you're gonna just like the Bud Light thing was like Bud Light lost I forget billions of dollars off after that Dylan Mulvaney thing, and it's like people just they don't want to deal with that. That's the biggest thing. Like they just like that's gross. You're gonna be like that. You owe us an apology. We've been loyal customers to you for years, and you don't even care about us. You want to try to promote this other crap that we don't give a shit about.
yeah.
And
Well, Gillette, I think, was a
well,
more cogent example, but yeah.
Gillette did it too. Well, there's been Target's done it. There's been
Some
a
people are learning. I mean, I think
yeah,
Arrowhead knows what the fuck is up. They're like, we're not doing that shit. Like, we are making our game. It has its themes. It exists and it exists, period. Like, it's not
I
catering
wonder
to any specific anything.
I wonder if Sony's learning this. Now Sony has been
Yeah.
hit with a few of these
Dude,
things
I think
now.
everybody's learning. I think people
What?
are just making like calculated, even Disney.
Yeah.
Like, let's talk about Acolyte a little bit
Okay.
because, like, I know the director
I was gonna.
briefly. I met her at a bar and she came to my wedding. She's very smart. She directed and helped create Russian Doll, which is a great show on Netflix. Like, she's not a moron.
Right.
And she knows the fandom has had these reactions to these films. Like, there's no way she just is like, I'm going to make my, woke shit no matter what these racist assholes thought. Like, the process, first of all, the process is way more convoluted and complicated than that. Like, she had to fight with suits, she had to get scripts approval, she had to deal with committees. Like, what's on screen is not just her pure vision. It is like a culmination of lots of people and the, bigger rooms in Disney. But like, it's just forgot what my main point is, but um, well, I guess I'll land it there. It's just like it's more complicated than this woke person made a thing.
Right.
But well, I was going to say, I think that she is aware of it, and I think a lot of these people are aware of it. And when they do like what you would call woke things now, they're still making a bet. I'm not sure that they are like ideologically captured trying to propagandize. They're like, this is going to get this kind of reaction. This, we're going to hit this demographic and we're going to usher in these new fans of this product. We're going to get some backlash, as we know, but we're going to try it anyway and, see if we can recoup. I just don't think that these are blind, believers in all of this stuff. I think they're making money decisions.
Yeah. I also think that well, let me roll back to the point with Sony because so there was controversy behind Horizon, the new Horizon game. There was controversy behind the new God of War game, and there was controversy behind Spider-Man 2. All which I don't know if Sweet Baby Inc. actually had a hand in all that, but like supposedly it was something along those lines. The DEI kind of thing kind of crept in or whatever, which is what made those games people like them less because of these things that they tried to put in. When they had a good like the first runs were amazing games. All three of them were just amazing Sony first party games, and they trip over this stuff, which development takes time anyway. Which is what kind of brought me back to the point where Sony may be learning because, like I said, they partnered with Arrowhead for Helldivers 2. To, like I said, I don't know how much they actually like. They basically bought like an exclusivity thing where it won't come to Xbox for a minute, kind of deal. That's kind of what Sony did, just a little bit of backing in that, and
Yeah,
maybe a little bit of advertisement or something. But then like Stellar Blade, Shift Up's game, like I was reading about it because I had seen it and was super curious when the trailer dropped a couple years ago or whatever. I was like, what happened to
of
that
course you
game?
were.
And then I got to looking at it, and supposedly it almost got canceled.
Yeah,
And then Sony had picked it up and let them resume the development on it, which it's going to be a Sony exclusive for a while. It'll eventually come to PC like they all do, but um, that's what I mean. So Sony's like, and everybody is loving Stellar Blade, and nobody's played it yet. It's not out, but everybody's like,
yeah.
that's like they want to see a
Because where
hot.
it's couched in the culture, where though
Yeah,
mostly, I think.
and that's the thing. It's like it's an anti thing. Honestly, it's like anti
Yeah,
this woke crap. Like,
it's why BattleBit blew up. Same
yeah,
thing was like because they hated Battlefield.
yeah,
But I think as also like you know, I guess you can say maybe the second game stumbled, and maybe it's because of some of the themes or whatever. But if the second game was the first game, and we weren't like going over it with a fine-toothed comb looking for like any black character that shouldn't be black or
right,
whatever, like I think people's overall reception would be much more positive. We're just like in this like Sherlock Holmes detective mode where it's like I'm looking for anything that some company like Sweet Baby Inc. has injected into this, and I'm going to dislike the whole game because of this moment. So I would just be, I mean, personally, I try to not have that lens so that I can actually just enjoy more things. Um, but it's also fun to like get into all the videos ranting
yeah,
about it. So it's hard to stay away, but at the same time, I just think there are going to be false flags
right,
that aren't DEI that are just like, yeah, we wanted to have a black character. There were no black characters in this whole franchise, so like, why not? These are gods anyway.
right.
Um, and like I don't really give a shit about the canon of Norse mythology or whatever the fuck. Like, I don't even know it. You know what I mean? So like, I'm learning for the first time that there were no black people in this or that. And then like getting upset about it when it's like, you know, this character, if I didn't know that, could have existed, and I
Right.
would have no problem with it.
Well, yeah, I think just the public right now is just super sensitive to anything. Obviously, like I said, both sides. If you look at both sides, one side super sensitive. They don't see the representation,
Yeah,
and the other side super sensitive to anything that could possibly lead to
yeah,
this stuff that has led to other
yeah.
things being terribly written or
I think
terribly
if
produced.
Obi-Wan hadn't come out, and I think if Um, what was the other really bad one? Boba Fett didn't come out. It was
Boba
just like
Fett. I think Mandalorian season
Mandalorian
three
was
was.
pretty rad.
Yeah, I think season three it fell off. Well, that's what I heard.
Maybe
I didn't watch any of
they
it,
weren't
but
all great because they were kind of
yeah,
like mini stories, and
yeah.
sometimes the actual mini story was crap. But when it was an arc, I really loved it. But an arc between episodes, like all the stuff with the tiny
So
baby Yoda were great.
they
But
had
like if Acolyte
Ahsoka
just dropped right
series.
after Mandalorian and we didn't have all this shit beforehand,
Yeah.
I think people would have loved that trailer way more. I watched the trailer, I was like, this looks pretty fucking rad. Like the fighting looks cool. I don't really care that there's not a white guy. Like I'm not tracking that stuff. Like I love Carrie Ann Moss. Like I love to see her in anything. I love the guy from Squid Game. So I watched that trailer and was totally, I like got chills when that lightsaber comes flying through the forest and it cuts all the trees and they all kick on their lightsabers. Like I'm getting chills just talking about that
Right,
scene right now. Like it has legitimate great cinematography and legacy and it could be rad.
right.
I think the power thing maybe is some kind of like whistle, dog whistle to like the woke stuff. Maybe not. I would love a story that focused on the Sith as the protagonist as opposed to like the Sith are evil. I think that's like an interesting new space. But Acolyte dropping now after so much bad
Yeah.
shit has happened, like people are just like coming for it so hard. And I'm like, I watched the trailer and I was like, this looks pretty cool.
You think
But
about it.
everybody's just like taking a huge dump on it.
I'm not a Star Wars fan. Like I'm just not. The originals, even the the prequels or whatever. Like I watched those
Yeah.
growing up. Like I didn't watch the newest trilogy, and I haven't watched any of the stuff. Like I'm just not
I
a
think you were
huge.
also though. I think you were kind of like right in the middle to miss it. Like you didn't get the first cultural
Yeah,
buzz of the
no, yeah,
first
it was
movies.
70s, late 70s, early
Yeah,
80s for the
yeah,
original
yeah,
ones. But then the prequels come out when I was in high school. I mean, like it was
yeah. Well, I hated
98,
the prequels, so
99. And
yeah,
like I said, I watched them in theaters. They were fine
yeah,
enough. Like it was a cinematic experience. It was fun to go watch. I haven't rewatched them over and over again. They
yeah,
didn't become my
yeah. Me neither.
bible.
The acting
Um,
is so bad.
but my thinking is so, and you're right. I'm looking right now, like all the Star Wars series and stuff that Disney has tried to milk out of this franchise. They did Ahsoka last year, which was not rated very highly.
I think
I think they
Endor
actually
was good.
I think Andor actually was
Endor's
supposed to be pretty good, but just nobody watched it, kind of thing. Like it
yeah,
just and all of these things. But like so, getting to talking about the Acolyte, it said 100 years before the Phantom Menace, before the prequels. And honestly, like thinking about it that way, it would be a cool time to see that because everything has been like post prequels, right? Everything has been after, even like all the Rebel series that was the cartoon series that was highly rated
yeah,
and stuff. All those things was like after the prequels, and then after they already killed most of the Jedi's, or around that time. So you go back 100 years when Jedi's are in the forces, whatever, wild and free. Like maybe it's before the Jedi Council. Maybe it's I don't know. Maybe it's not. I didn't actually watch the trailer yet. But like a time when there's an abundance amount of Jedi's or
yeah,
abundance amount of Force users instead of one or two, and they're just super special Supermen that walk
yeah.
through
I believe the
whatever.
Jedi or
Yeah,
like whoever they're aligned with basically
yeah,
are in power.
yeah.
Yeah,
Which that would be a cool setting because even like in the prequels with the Jedi Council and stuff, you at least got to see a handful of Jedi's fighting on screen, which was a pretty cool thing to see. And then like obviously once you get into the original trilogy, it's just Luke, or it's just Ben and Luke and Darth Vader. Like there's no more Jedi. Like these are the last of the Jedi's basically at this point.
yeah. Good
Except for
story
the
point.
ones that got lost and they find them in a side story somewhere. Those are still there, but all the
Yeah,
rest of
yeah.
them are all dead. Yeah, it's weird. Uh,
I mean, I would like I would definitely not say no if someone was like, "Do you want to direct a new Star Wars series?" Because like the opportunity is too incredible
right, right,
and the money would be too good. But goddamn, like I would know. I'd be like, "Well, this might be the end of my whole life
right.
because the fans are out for blood.
I,
Like mess up one fucking
yeah,
thing
I
and
think
you're
if you
crucified."
went to the new fans, see, that's the problem right now. That's where we get to the us versus them thing again. I think if you went to old school fans that were there day one and watched the movies in theaters, and got together with people like that and was like, we want to build this as a fan. We want to do it right, do it justice, which I've seen series do. like I said, the new fans may be upset about it, but the old school fans, the people that have been around for years and years, um, they're going to come out in droves to watch it because it's like
Yeah,
this is made by fans. Fans will love this,
yeah,
and there's been shows that have done that and been very successful doing that
yeah.
as a reboot or whatever. Come out and like we're fans of this series, we're fans of these shows, want to do it, and like I said, it makes these new people mad. But and like I
If
said,
if Star Wars would be a series that would work, would be one that was created by the fans, and that was kind of like the premise of it. That was like, we're going to have a contest where fans of the show are going to write episode one, and then we're going to help them produce like 5 episodes based on that first premise. Like, if they involve the fans in that way, and I, you know, also good luck being a part of Disney. But if they were like, we're going to
right,
give you $1 million or whatever, $20 million to produce it, and it's not going to be affiliated with Disney. It's going to be its own independent launch. Like, that's one way you could finally get some goodwill back into it, because like dropping it on Disney Plus, it just has like so much ill will. It's like making a great game and launching it in the EA launcher.
yeah,
You know, like I think BattleBit's a good example of that, because like Battlefield 2042 came out. I think it's a pretty good game, and just like people fucking shit on it, just like everything. They just hate everything about it. They hate it. They hate it. They hate it. They hate it. And then this game comes along that's like Roblox,
yeah,
looks like shit,
yeah,
doesn't play that great, to be honest. I've played it. And like it's just blowing up. It's like breaking all these records. And people are just like, it's doing all the stuff that we wish Battlefield was. I'm like,
right.
not
Well,
really. What it's really doing is it's launching not from EA. It's launching from a total, that 4 guys made this as opposed to a team of 60. And so your expectations are so low that when they reach even just like a very mediocre bar, you're just like, holy shit, this is so incredible. I can't believe 4 people actually made this. And you love it to this different degree than if like a studio used photogrammetry and the latest ray tracing and like real physics based whatever the fuck, and like give it every bell and whistle that possibly could exist, and people are just like, boo, this is trash, it's shit. And it's like, it's because of the
right.
preconceived notion.
Well, and I go back to like you if you stick your finger well if you touch a hot stove you immediately know never to touch a hot stove. And this is my analogy with EA and stuff is because like they have made and they have released crap games that weren't finished. And it's not necessarily that the game developer's fault. It's the EA as a
Yeah.
publisher has pushed these things. Now I will
Yeah.
say because I played we played Battlefield 2042 was the last one, right? And it had a few bugs and stuff, but it was overall pretty playable,
Yeah.
and had fun with it. And I am a anti EA guy as they come. I am boycott
Yeah.
EA at all costs. But I will say that with that game, like I don't even remember there being any microtransactions. Were there? Was there a store that I just
There was a
missed?
battle pass,
Yeah,
and I think you could buy things, but it was not
but it
like,
wasn't put in your face like
yeah,
Call of Duty.
yeah,
It is shoved in your face, and it is
yeah.
shoved hard in your face. Like it's the menu for Call of Duty now just sucks. It's just like scrolling like a Netflix style thing where you
I just
scroll
don't
through the
even install
maps.
it because I think it's
Yeah.
rude how big it is.
Oh well, yeah. They just
I'm just
they
like,
don't
fuck you. I'm not
actually.
installing something that's 200 gigs.
Yeah,
Fuck
well, they
you.
don't optimize. They drop these big 16, 20 gig updates, but they don't actually delete the old files. That's where the problems are. That's why those
Yeah, I
games
don't
get
know.
so big because they drop these patches and these updates, and
It just
then
feels
it's
rude.
supposedly replace old. It should replace old files, but they don't, and it just keeps swelling. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I see
Speaking
the
of
install
big
size and
games,
I'm just like,
though,
nah.
I downloaded, well, it should be downloaded now. Rise of the Ronin on my PS5.
Nice.
It was 100 gigs on the PS5, so like I can hold like 5 games on my PS5 or some shit or whatever.
100 gigs. I'm like, I'll do 100. I'll do a
Yeah,
little over 100 if it's like GTA 5.
yeah.
But if you're just like some schmo and you're like 150 gigs, I'm like, I don't
And
know, dude.
you
That's a
know that
lot.
was the craziest thing because even like because games got so big, toward the end of the time that I was using the PS4. I think Red Dead Redemption 2, which is a massive game. Let's not lie,
That's
it's a
almost 200.
huge
Yeah.
game. On the PS4, I think it was 100 something, just over 100
Yeah.
PS4. But then like um, this was before, yeah, Monster Hunter was before Resident Evil, but like or before Red Dead. Um, all the games that had come out around Monster Hunter was all 50, 60, 70 gigs. And Monster Hunter Worlds comes out on the PS4 was 30 gigs, looked great, had zero load screens. Like it was just
Yeah.
super well done. Like so these things can be done.
Yeah.
And like yeah, it's not you don't see every pore on everything's face or whatever,
Who cares?
but
Yeah.
the way they go around like the grass and stuff moves when you run through
Yeah.
it and in the wind and stuff like that. Maybe it's not every blade of grass, but the way they do it, it shifts around, making it all look like it moves.
Yeah.
And
It's
and
like a
yeah,
haiku. Like, like you can make something beautiful that's small, and you can make something that's really compelling that's small. Like if you just have like unlimited size and like you're just going for realistic fidelity, like who cares?
yeah. Like I
I
said,
think Nintendo proves that principle again and again. Dragon's Dogma, 60 gigs.
oh
Thank you
for
very
real,
much.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's Capcom, and like I said, in Capcom, they lost a little bit with me, but like it's still probably as far as publishers go, still one of the best, if not the best.
Yeah, their games are like finished when they release them.
Yeah,
It's like
mostly, and like
incredible.
that. So like your Street Fighters and shit, they have some microtransaction crap, season passes, stuff like that, a bunch of extra DLC characters, which kind of sucks because that kind of breaks the fighting game genre when it first come out was finding those hidden characters and unlocking
Yeah.
them. That was always kind of the cool thing to do. But anyway, so they have a few of their franchises that to me they may have went a little too far with, and then they also had the thing where they were going back in and retroactively adding in kind of some kind of anti cheat thing that was going to screw up certain games because and it's a gamer's fault. I mean, they played it was a Street Fighter tournament, and I guess he had a modded version of the game, and like naked Chung Li come out on the main stage or something, or
No
whatever
way.
was broadcast or whatever it was, and they're like, well, we don't want that, so they like went back in and was supposedly saying mods were cheating. They didn't. I don't know if they actually ever meant mods were cheating, but like we don't want these to destroy whatever we have here.
Yeah.
And that kind of upset me because they were like anti mods for a while. I don't know if they've
They still
come
have
out on that.
a
Yeah.
lot
Oh
of
yeah.
good
No.
karma with me. They
I,
can fuck up a couple more times and I'll still like them.
yeah. I mean, like I said, I was like at the time because I was thinking about doing that YouTube video of like of the big publishers and how
Right.
Capcom is my favorite and has consistently been my favorite because they consistently have the most. Almost all of their games in their collections, I enjoy. Any of
Yeah.
them that I pick up and play, I enjoy. Devil May
Yeah.
Cry series, Resident Evil series, uh, Monster Hunter series. Now I got introduced into Monster Hunter. I haven't played Dragon's Dogma. I'm sure I would like it. It's one of those things.
Good.
There's a bunch of other games I want to play right now.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, almost every Capcom game. I love Street Fighter. I haven't played a Street Fighter in a long time, but like
I
I
know.
always loved it.
It's because people online are too good. It's really
Yeah,
discouraging.
yeah, yeah. That's definitely the truth. Yeah, I can beat the shit out of anybody else that I play against for
Yeah,
it's
get
the
me on the
first time
couch.
ever.
Like we'll have a great time.
Yeah. Yeah, well, like I just like to mess around with it, but like, do I want to drop $70 on a fighting game that I'm going to play for a
Yeah.
few hours and then maybe never
Yeah,
touch it
that's the thing
again?
too. I wish they would do Street Fighter and it's like they would just keep updating it like Warframe as opposed to like a new Street Fighter every
Well,
year or every 2 years that's like another $70 because I'm like,
that,
yeah, I'm like 3 versions back. I'm not gonna
yeah,
buy the new one.
that's well with Street Fighter, it doesn't really matter. I don't guess. I mean, I guess there is like an underlying story to some of them, but that's never the
I'd
point.
guess.
Yeah, I mean, like there's a well, I can remember Street Fighter 4. I think was the last one I bought,
Yeah.
and
I
then
bought
like
5. That was the last one I got.
Yeah, but before there was like a cyborg thing with like his fucking galaxy. That was the final boss that you fought. And he used everybody else's move set. Like he could punch like Dalsim and he could do all anyway. But that was kind of his thing. He was like an amalgamation of
He was a
everybody's.
cultural appropriation
Yeah.
character.
Well, no, he was just like a silver android. Like he was like an Amazo from the
Taking the
DC
best from
universe.
every culture.
Yeah. But
Taking
anyway,
Guile's hair,
yeah.
Ryu's fireball.
Uh, but anyway, so like I said, that's the story. I guess there was like a boss or whatever, and then it's like this is the
Yeah.
bad guy that you have to fight up
Who
to beat or
cares though?
whatever.
Like
Yeah. Now,
the
Mortal
story in Street
Kombat,
Fighter.
they started doing, and then also with the Injustice series, they started doing this like overarching single player campaign thing that was actually
Yeah.
kind of a neat thing that they tied into the fighting game mechanics. Um, I enjoyed those when I did play them because it's like
Yeah.
you start and then you play like 2 or 3 matches with one character and then it shifts over to a different and you fight with this. So you kind of go through the whole roster instead
Yeah.
of
It's
just
pretty fun.
yeah. I
But you
enjoyed
could
it.
do that. You could still like call it like Mortal Kombat Origins, and you produce it as like a 8-year game cycle where you're going to update the graphic, like
Yeah.
Warframe. You're going to update the graphics, going to add a new story. You know,
Well, I
maybe a
can
$10
remember.
DLC or something like that. But like, stop releasing full new games. Like, it's kind of
Can't
cheesy.
remember which Mortal Kombat it was because I bought like 7 or something. I can't remember which one it was, but like one or two previous to that had this like an open world style mode that you walked around in, and it was kind of an empty thing, but you would walk. It was kind of like an RPG where you'd walk around and like spawn an instance, and then you'd go into a fight, and then you'd actually fight as more. It was like an RPG system that they introduced. Like I don't think it was ever very popular, but
Sounds fun.
they had something like that.
There was a
Seeing
good
that fleshed
mode
out would have been cool.
in the what's the Nintendo fighting one? Uh,
Smash.
Smash Bros. They had like some cool like go around and do stuff co-op. I like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like
there
Final
was a
Fight.
there's a game I always wanted to play, and I wish they would have. I wish they. I don't know if maybe you can find it on Steam or something now, but like they had a Mortal Kombat series that was Liu Kang and Kung Lao, but it was a side scroller beat 'em up
Yeah,
like Streets of Rage, but you walked around as Kung
I love
Lao
it.
and Liu Kang,
Yeah,
and it was great. I played a demo and it was awesome, but I don't think I ever actually played the whole game.
yeah, that sounds fun.
Yeah,
Better than getting my ass kicked by a 16-year-old in
right.
the online
And
lobby.
teabagging you, yeah, saying he fucked your mom, kind of thing.
Called me, canceled all my credit cards.
Yeah. Um. Well, let's change topics. Let's get off this DEI shit. Let's talk about us for a minute, man. So you posted on the Discord that you've lost 70 pounds the last well, it's last year. We pretty much started this trying to keep each other accountable last year. We failed at it horribly, but we all kind of at least branched off, or at least me and you did.
Yeah,
Uh, you taking it more serious than I had, um, and you're down 70 pounds from last year. I'm down 50 from last year.
nice. That's
So
awesome, man.
um, I was 275
Well,
this
I've
time
I've
last
had more
year.
time on my hands, so
Well,
you've
and
kept
it's
a full-time job. I've been just like gigging, like producing videos here
right.
and there. So
I
it's
want
been like
like
my focus.
eventually. I'm looking at some like business ideas that maybe I can get out of uh, working for someone else. But
Yeah,
if I have the time, like I'm hoping I'd be able to go to the gym. Like right now, I get up at 4 o'clock every morning and go to work,
yeah,
and I get
that's tough.
home and I'm
I can't
trying to
work
get
out
a
after work.
walk in. Yeah, that's me. I'm I'm done. My brain's cooked from staring at
Yeah,
and cussing at other people on the highway all day.
I got to
Um,
do it in the morning. Yeah,
yeah. So that's what I'm hoping for. If I can get a shift in this where I'm doing something on my own, where I can start early in the morning, but not like 3 o'clock.
yeah.
Start and go to the gym and work out.
Well, one
That's
thing
what
I
I
do
want to do.
now is I go for 2 mile walks and I do it 3 times a day. I like do it first thing in the
Nice.
morning, and then around lunch I'll be like, I'm gonna go for another tour, and then like after dinner I'll go for another one. And they're like easy. Like 2 miles is like really easy,
Yeah.
and that ends up being like 14,000 steps. Or sorry, is it? I think 14K. Yeah, 14K steps a day, which is like pretty good. And a lot of people, there's a lot of literature on like the amount of sun you get and the like good things that happen in your body when you're walking that much. And plus, I still just want to like lose some body fat.
Well, I'm trying now
But
that the weather's nice again. I'm trying to get back out. I went for a walk and a run today. I walked my
nice.
normal lap, which is 1.2 miles around that, and then uh, I was like, oh, screw it, I'm gonna go again. And then I took off and started running. And I can't jog. Like jogging to
Yeah,
me, like it's
it's
just
hard.
almost, I can either sprint or walk. And like jogging is just it's way harder than both of those things to me.
Terrible on
Uh,
your knees.
so I just rolled out and sprinted, more or less sprinted. I'd say seven. Well, I don't know, probably at my current weight, like it was an 80% run,
Yeah,
whatever.
man,
But like,
that's good for you.
uh, do that for a block, stop, walk 2 blocks, catch my breath again. Next next block, sprint for a block, and then I'm gonna try to do that to where I can actually sprint more and more. I want to get my wind back. Really, that's my biggest
Yeah,
thing.
yeah,
Is I smoked for a long time and was sedentary a lot. Just got fat and lazy, and like I can even feel it today. I don't know. I think everybody's different or whatever, but like me, once I hit a threshold, like I'm only using like a certain percentage of my lungs, and then like after I run and start to breathe heavy or whatever, I start hacking up crap that's like
mm,
this mucusy stuff. It's been at the bottom of my lungs forever. It's like, and after I do that, after I hack all that stuff up, then I'm like my wind's just. I mean, I've instantly got it back now. Like I can just run and whatever. Like I
yeah.
said, my body, because I've described this. I also don't sweat. Like right now, I'm not sweating. Um, Now, if I start working out outside and get to a point where I almost overheat, like almost close to heat stroke, like I am headaches, feel
Mm,
terrible, and then I'll break into a sweat and I'll sweat the rest of the summer, like no
mm.
problem. I'll start sweating at any time. But like there's a threshold for me to hit to
Gonna
start.
break the
It's
seal.
yeah, it's and I explained it to my brother, and he's like, "What?" He's like, "That's I just sweat all the time." I'm like, I don't know. It's just how it works. I don't know.
That's funny.
uh,
You know what helps with getting your breath back is swimming. Swimming is really good for that
yeah, we have an
because you
indoor,
have to control your breath so much more
yeah,
than even when you're running.
and it's less impact, so you don't have to worry about like if you're
Your
overweight on your
knees.
joints and stuff.
Yeah.
Which is why now that I'm down to 220, I don't feel as bad for running. Like it was 240, 250. Like that's gonna put some more wear and tear on the old joints than it is losing that weight. So my
Yep.
goal right now is I'm on the carnivore diet. Well, I've turned it into keto. I should try to get back on carnivore, like more strict in carnivore. But like I like having a slice of keto bread every now and then just to kind of change stuff up and this and that.
Can't quit sandwiches. I just love sandwich.
I
Just like,
made I made pulled pork here a couple weekends ago, and like I started to eat it. I'm like, I need a slice. Gotta have a slice of
yeah,
bread to eat this, and
yeah.
sugar free barbecue sauce. Like I just can't eat it plain. I tried, it just doesn't work. Um,
I'm like in the mode where like I don't have to enjoy food. I'll be like,
yeah,
if you were like, eat these mealworms, it'll help you get your six pack. I'll be like, okay,
I
I'll
need to
just
get
swallow them.
there. I when I first started this, like I didn't even have the hunger pain stuff. Like all that kind of went away. Now that I've introduced some of this other stuff, like I should. That's why I should drop it. Like regain my willpower and drop this crap that tastes good and just stick with the diet until it runs out instead of cheating my way
It's
around
hard
here
though
and
that
there.
it really helps if you're doing it first thing in the morning because
Yeah,
like that sort of sets up a domino effect for the rest of the day.
yeah,
Like if you got up and worked out, like I get up, I drink creatine and like a little bit of pre-workout because I work out fasted because I don't eat till noon. So like I've already done like step one, and now like if I don't follow through, I've kind of like wasted what I did immediately. So like, and then I go to the gym, and then like now that I've gone to the gym, I want to have my I want to have my protein right after I work out. So I have my protein shake, and I do fish oil, and I've introduced all these like little things that I do now, and they kind of like I just man, I just sympathize how difficult it would be to not be able to like work out first thing in the morning
yeah.
because that
I,
just sets you up.
I really want to, and everybody, any health professional is like, yeah, do it first thing in the morning. Workout. That's the best time to do it. Is to work out first thing in the morning. That's when your body reacts to it the best.
I
Your
mean, you could get
emotion.
up at 3.
Yeah, I mean, I could get up early, but that's the thing is like I'll have to go to bed earlier, and then
Yeah,
like I'll
you
have
got
to
to go to bed like
change.
7 p.m.
Yeah, I'll have to get and then it's fixing to
and you'll
be
really
where
be an old man.
it won't be dark until 9 o'clock or whatever. So I'm going to bed at 7, still bright sunny outside and shit. Uh, So I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, there's something I can do. Which right now I'm waiting. There's a new gym being built. My little brother was telling me about it. There's a new like it's local building a gym, and it's actually going to be 24 hours. I don't know if we have a 24-hour gym. Like maybe there's an anytime, but like I guess Planet Fitness, at least the one here, had stopped being.
Yeah.
Um, and of course, there's the big thing about Planet Fitness right now.
Oh, good.
Um,
Yeah.
about the
I
and
wonder if their
honestly,
stock fall off is real.
yeah, I think it's deserved. Honestly, like I don't. There's got to be a better way than like banning the woman who didn't feel comfortable with a man in the women's restroom, and not like somebody that was passable, like looked like me and you, dude, in there shaving his face. You know,
Yeah, well, I saw that first photo and I was like pretty shocked. And then I saw another later photo and he like gets all dolled up. Like he puts on like a
right?
corset and a bra and like he does doll himself up. So it's not
Yeah,
just a guy
but it's a guy turning
who,
into a woman or dressing
but
himself
I
up,
mean
and
like he's trying
right,
to pass. He's not just walking in there like as
right,
a guy being like, I'm a girl.
right.
So that changed my feeling on it a little bit. But I think the
It's a
policy
weird.
is just untenable.
It's a weird. There's no winning this because like you can't tell a woman she can't feel uncomfortable if there's a clearly a guy in there. You know what I mean? Like
I mean, you can, but like let's see what
I don't
happens
think
if you do that. You
right.
know what I mean? Like, I wonder how the business will continue on. Like, if
Well,
people are like, cool, I'm going to
right.
keep going here, or if people are like, no, I'm not going there. I go to the
I
Y right now.
yeah. I just mean in general, like I don't feel like we have any right to tell a woman that she can't go in and use the bathroom in peace without having to worry about a man being in there.
Yeah.
Whether they that person, that trans person, man, woman, whatever, has the purest of intentions or not. That's not that's not the actual call. The call is the woman that's in there. If they feel uncomfortable, that's their call to feel uncomfortable. Like, you know what I mean? Like they can't go into the men's restroom to feel more comfortable. Like that doesn't work. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
oh,
But it's a philosophical difference. Like, you know, like they really believe, and the people that are like enforcing this policy really believe that that guy should be considered a woman and his comfort should also be considered. So, you know, I can't pretend to know like the answer, but I know that it is like a deep philosophical difference that isn't, you know, easily solved.
yeah, I agree. I agree. And it's not something I even like touching on. It's just it's part of what's going on in the world right now, and it's
Yeah.
we're all yeah, everything's crazy. It's not nobody can be happy, and then I don't want to go outside, but I also feel like I need to go outside. I've been stuck inside for what it feels like, honestly, since COVID. COVID has really fucked me up, and I wasn't scared of COVID at all. But it kind of, I guess, gave me the excuse to like stay inside and do all that. Like, I'm just so
All the introverts were like secretly happy about
yeah. I
COVID.
mean, I kind of was, and then it got to the
Ah, I
point
don't have
where
to go into the office anymore. Dang.
I was living alone. I wouldn't go out and sit at a restaurant and eat. If I ordered out, I just pick it
There's
up and go
people who still
back to
wear
the house.
masks,
Oh yeah, I'm
even in
still
North
seeing them
Carolina,
around here.
in
Uh,
their car too. I see a
I
guy driving with his
I
mask on. I'm like, what are you doing?
I think they're the people around here like the flu or stomach bug or something was going around. I think
Well,
that's
and
why
some
they
people
stopped.
may be
Yeah,
autoimmune deficient. Like
right. So I've seen a
they
few
have
more
like
people in
legitimate.
Walmart. It's very less here in Arkansas. Um,
Yeah, same here in North Carolina. New York people were, when I left New York,
yeah,
there were still many, many masks.
I talked to a buddy of mine who went to Texas to visit his father last weekend, and as he said, as he was driving through, they stopped in Austin or something, and they were getting gas or what I don't know what they were doing, but like they saw a woman on a bike wearing like the plastic face shield thing,
Wow.
riding her bike, and I was like, and my first thought was like, well, maybe she wanted to keep the bugs out of her face. And Chuck
Yeah.
goes, yeah, I thought that too, until she got into her car and didn't take it off and kept driving with it while she was in her car, and I was like, yep, that she's a crazy person. Like,
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, there's always crazy people.
yeah,
Like
that's
in
true.
the hyper vigilant hypochondriac, like has been a type for quite some while,
Oh
quite
yeah,
some time.
yeah, for sure, for sure.
I just always feel bad when I'm like walking around without a mask, imagining that they're like, wow, another careless asshole who doesn't care if they kill people. I'm worried that they think I'm some, heartless bastard, and they're the one who, I don't know why I care about what they think, but that's what's going through my mind, is that the person wearing the mask is outraged that other people aren't.
So got a maybe crazy. I don't really want to look at it. There was a thing here with the Stuttering Craig of side scrollers posted about
Oh,
this is
see, this is the protest
yeah,
I saw a
Western
quick
game
clip of.
developers screaming at GDC against Gamergate, patriarchy, and the industry. I don't know, man. Like I think I come up with this theory, and it's not. I don't know. It's just something I thought up, and whatever if it's true or not. But like this is the way I kind of see things. There's a lot of people that are like anti-capitalism, right? And this is the biggest thing. There's this giant whatever deal with wealth, and honestly, like I'm gonna come out and say it's the government's fault. It's straight up the government's fault for creating this stuff like this. Capitalism itself is a self-righting ship, or at least it should be. Now, let me finish. So, if a company years ago, 20 years ago, made a product, they spent millions of dollars on said product. Then they're like, we're going to charge $100,000 for this thing. And everybody goes, $100,000? Who can afford that? And then nobody buys it. Well, and then other companies come out as competitors and be like, yeah, they made something way too expensive. Look, our thing's way more affordable. Well, then said company would self-write, and then the next year would come out with something that was more affordable because they've learned their lesson, right? So that's kind of what
Right.
I mean by self-writing. Like
Yeah.
the market itself would fix itself. But
Yeah.
now, and I was talking about vehicles, because if you look at cars right now, it's ridiculous. Like pickups and stuff, 80, 90, $100,000. I'm not looking in the market for a new vehicle, but like I was just looking. My roommate's looking for a car. I'm looking for used cars or whatever, and a new one pops up. $74,000 for a pickup, brand new pickup. And I was like, jeez. So I jumped online. I was like, I'm curious. Jumped online, typed it in a loan calculator. $74,000 at 8 years at 6% interest, which that I think may be too low right now. Was $1,900 a month.
Wow.
I make $3,400 a month bring home 32, like that's over half of what I bring home for just my vehicle payment, not to mention the insurance is going to be double or triple what I pay now
Yeah.
because the vehicle's worth double or triple of what mine's actually worth.
Yeah. Well, new cars are for rich people.
But that's the thing, they used to not be. You used to be able, if you worked, like, my parents always had a new vehicle growing up. They weren't by any means super rich or nothing. They were just both, my dad had a dump truck, my mom worked in a factory, but they had
Right.
at least one new vehicle and they could afford it. But now,
So you think the government is making the vehicle
well,
more expensive?
so the reason why I said the government was so back to the capitalism used to be a self-righting ship. Now, if things stay the way they are, and they're already talking about that, there's a lot of dealerships and stuff saying this, like the bubble is going to burst on these vehicles because nobody can afford to buy them. I think they said most dealerships are like 120% inventory right now. Like they're just way over inventoried. The factories keep spitting these vehicles out, sending them in, making them take them, and they can't sell them because nobody can afford them. Banks aren't even making these loans. Now, in a just world, these companies would just they'd lose their butts. They'd lose a crap ton of money. They may have to shut down stuff or whatever. But then they would come out with a more affordable vehicle down the road and try to recoup and build up from there. In a just world, that's what should happen. But because the government will bail them out because they already have, because they're too big to fail, they got to, we can't let these Americans lose their jobs and stuff like that because the company was greedy. They're going to give all these companies millions upon millions of dollars or billions of dollars to bail them out. They're going to pocket that money and they're going to keep on doing right what they're doing right now because they don't have any lesson to learn. They just,
Yeah.
there's no,
Well, that's even a smaller scale of what happened in Wall Street when
yeah,
Obama bailed out the banks.
yeah.
Like, To me,
Well, yeah, he bailed
I was
out.
like, what should have happened is those banks should have crashed and that money should have been evaporated and we should
Right,
have rebuilt, on real capital.
which that
But I
was
think what we're
GMC
dealing
and
with, these people who rage against capitalism and see late stage capitalism as like the ill and the only answer is socialism or whatever their anarchy or
yeah,
whatever the fuck they are imagining to replace it.
right,
And I think
bartering system or
what's
whatever.
really wrong is crony capitalism,
Yeah,
corrupt capitalism,
yeah,
capitalism that's corrupt by the government, but
yeah,
also corrupt by corporations, people who hoard wealth, and people who like put money overseas. There's like tons of corruption that's going on that I think like I'm not sure we're actually in a capitalistic society anymore,
no,
or at least not predominantly. Like
we're
obviously some
corporate
markets
society.
remain, but like yeah, we're in a corporate cronyism capitalism. We're not in a pure capitalism society. So it's like I see people's gripes with capitalism and I totally agree, but I'm also like I don't think the answer is not capitalism. I think the answer is like a reformed capitalism, a like true capitalism that is like the market the market is true as opposed to, you know,
That means the government out of everything. Government
I
does
mean, I don't know the detailed, and I'm sure there's like more
well,
complicated things than
right.
I understand as far as like keeping some markets afloat while things recoup. I'm sure there's some like, an economist would
Yeah,
probably be
I
able
just
to make a case for it in some cases. So, I'm just like I don't think it's probably not like do this one thing and then it would be solved. It's probably a lot of things.
yeah,
But to
I
me, people who are just griping about capitalism and just like I don't think you're like it's like too simple. Like you can't just be like this is the if like you can point to one source as like the ills of everything, you're probably an ideologue. I've heard some quote like that. Anyway, it makes sense to me. It's like if you're like capitalism is why this is wrong, capitalism is why sex workers are, endangered, capitalism is why people are poor, I mean, just like real like I'm not sure the analysis is like sophisticated enough to solve these
yeah,
actual problems.
it's yeah, it's definitely and like I say, I honestly believe that like if there was a way, which I don't believe there is actually a way to get the government out of it, I think it would self. I think it would fix itself. I think it would have to. I think these people would have to be like, okay, well, we have to go back to the old way of doing things. And honestly,
Yeah, but there's more
right?
systems than the government at play,
Yeah.
like I
So
think you have a particular bone to pick with the government
well, I definitely do,
that
but right.
maybe leans you toward that solution, but I'm sure they're really fucking up a lot of things, no
Yeah.
doubt.
Well, I think it's greed. I think it comes down to greed. I think they're voting and like basically selling their votes to these corporations to help the laws to help them do this or that. And I don't know. This may be conjecture too, but this is what I honestly kind of feel like is happening. And then the politicians are actually just pocketing money. Uh,
Some
yeah,
cases, surely.
right. Well, I mean, you got a congressperson that goes in that makes $150,000 a year, and then they're
Yep.
millionaires when they get
Comes
out of
out
it.
rich.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's not right.
yeah, no, it's
To
totally
me, the point I want to make in the on the back of this protest at GDC is that I think the majority of protests are for Instagram and Twitter
yeah,
and for virtue signaling.
yep,
I don't think they actually change
TikToks.
anything. I don't think many protests have changed anything in many years. That's because I think that their demands and their criticisms are not totally based in reality. I'm not saying they're reacting to nothing,
Right.
but I think that like when you look at successful protests of the past that like really made great change or meaningful change, they weren't complaining about these theoretical boogeymen that I think these people can't truly put their finger on, which is like the patriarchal, whatever the fuck, capitalistic, blah, blah, like if you interview these people and you're like, what specifically do you mean? They won't know. Like they're
Well,
not grounded enough to actually change anything because like they're protesting against like memes and they're doing it so that people see them online doing being a good person. Like and then they just like what's this protest at GDC going to do? Fucking zero.
yeah,
Nothing.
it's
It's
gonna
going to
get
get them some likes on
yeah,
Twitter.
yeah,
Period.
gonna get them some. repost.
It's
Yeah,
fucking
it's gonna get
lame.
them some interactions. I totally agree. It's yeah, and
I think you know what's funny is everybody hated that Pepsi ad. Remember the Pepsi ad with
yeah,
I
yeah,
think
with the
Kylie Jenner, one
yeah
of the
the Jenner.
Jenners. People were so fucking furious because they were like commercializing and commodifying protest. But the reality is, in my opinion, Pepsi was totally onto something, and that is that being a protester and protesting against stuff makes you seem like a good person, and it's like a popular thing to do right now. And they were capitalizing on that popularity, and the people were outraged because it kind of called them out for that. It was like, you think you can, capitalize on protesting? This is really serious stuff. And I'm like, is it? I feel like they're kind of like pointing out what's actually obvious, and that's that most of this is for fucking show. Most of this is for popularity. Most of this is to like look good on Instagram. Because they're all on Instagram.
Yeah,
They're all filming themselves there. They're not actually like interrupting anything meaningful. It's like, and the people that are like stopping traffic and stuff are doing it totally ineffectually. Like people, it just fucking pisses everyone off.
yeah.
I'm just like, these
I don't know.
tactics don't work anymore.
It's very. It's just scary too because I couldn't even. I can't
Imagine,
even think
imagine the
about
change that's going to
protesting.
come from GDC protests.
Right,
Like, what's going to happen? They're going to be like, oh, all these protests came at
right.
GDC, guys. We're going to change the way we like. Fucking no.
I just feel like these protesters are like you're the most privileged little
Yeah.
assholes because like I said I can't even think about protesting because I have to go to fucking work every day.
Yeah.
Like I can't, I can't afford to just not go to work to go to some protest or whatever. Like, well, if you
Yeah.
believe in the cause that much, no, I believe in having to pay my friggin' bills. That's what
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
believe in.
You know what the problem is though is that they do not see it that way, which is like a huge impasse
I
because
know,
like
but like,
they think that they can't work. They think
oh
that
yeah,
they have like severe, neurodivergent, whatever the fuck. They've been told some shit by therapists, like why they can't work and they don't work. And you know what I mean? Like, and they really believe that. So, like, they can't hear you being like, I think you're here for no reason. I think you're here to look good on social media. Like, they're not going to hear that and change anything because that's, they totally don't believe that's what they're doing. And maybe they're not, and I'm wrong, but like, again, there's a deep philosophical difference.
so I saw this tweet the other day. I follow a lead singer for a band, and he posted, and he's a conservative, but he posted I forget which politician it was. Doesn't matter. They're trying to come up with this bill. I'm going to read it out to you. Created in cooperation with the budding labor organization United Musicians and Allied Workers, the bill would require streamers to create separate fund that would pay artists a minimum of 1 penny for every time the track is streamed, up to 1 million streams, $10,000 per track per month. So basically, what they're trying to do is introduce a minimum wage for songwriters
Mm.
each play or whatever. Like because their argument was if they have so many, they got to get 100 million plays or whatever to make any money off these songs. I'm like, yeah, but if the song's popular, it's not popular. Guess what? They're not that big of a band. They're not that big of a musician. And like, if you're going to introduce a minimum wage for musicians, for the arts, for an artist, then I'm going to sell you my fart album that I'm fixing to put out. And
I'd buy it.
I'm gonna fart the classics, and that's what we're gonna, and I'm gonna get paid for that shit because you have to.
I don't know, man. Let's see you do it. That'll
Yeah,
take all. That's hard work, man. You
yeah.
can't
The bonus
just.
bonus track is the shart. Yeah,
I
I
mean,
mean,
like maybe that's a bad idea, but
right.
at the same time, I think artists are like totally screwed in the modern age.
And
Like,
I think, and okay, I had this argument, not really an argument. I argued this. I don't think that hard to say this because I know what profession you're in and stuff like that, but like, I don't think that an artist is a full time job. Finish. I don't think at the level because there is jobs where you can be an artist full time and make a decent living. There's always been comic book artists and things like that for years, cartoonists and stuff that would come in and they had a 9 to 5 job, but it wasn't. It was a limited thing. Like not everybody could do that, right? It was if you're talented enough and you get into that industry. But then you had this wave, these children that go through high school and then they go to college and get an art degree, and then millions of them graduate with an art degree, and all of a sudden there's no jobs out there because there never was. Like they were, it honestly is bad parenting, really. If their parents would have been like, "Look, you want to do art, it's a great hobby, but like the job market is very slim. Like unless you're amazing and you're really good, but like unless you're like the best, you don't bank on that. Get a degree in something that actually kind of matters. Work on that first, and then work on this thing as a hobby. And if you could turn it into a full time career, cool. But the way the world is now, it's just like has these and uh, there's no jobs for them. And then everybody like, well,
Yeah.
there's a bunch of starving artists out there. I'm sorry, man. I guess go flip burgers or go wait tables because you
A
think
lot of them
about
do though. I mean,
yeah,
like,
I agree,
you
but
know,
there's the ones that don't and the ones that bitch and complain because they have to be handed because there are
yeah,
those
yeah.
people out there.
Here, I mean, I don't think it's any worse than people wanting to be social media influencers
Yeah,
or do
totally true.
podcasts
Yeah,
or
no,
stream video games. I think it's like one of those dreams that are like
right. My
probably not
thinking,
very wise. But
well,
I think you kind of undervalue the arts as its role in society. Like I think it's more
I
important than like
do not
comic book
undervalue it.
artists. I don't
Right.
think it's like just, you know,
Do not
being
undervalue
a
it. I do believe that the arts, music, actual arts, painting, sculpture, stuff like that, comic books, entertainment, movies, all that stuff. I believe it is integrally important for this country and for the world, for the humanity to have
yeah.
these outlets that they can enjoy and de-stress
But it's
from.
not, well, see, like, I don't
Okay.
think it's about entertainment. It's not about getting away. It's not I think it is
Well,
about
okay.
communicating ideas between cultures. I think it's
Right.
about like meaning in your life.
Yeah.
It's like not just whatever the commodity result is. I think it's like,
Yes.
I don't know. I feel like your attitude is a little like there's like real shit and then there's like the fluffy comic books, movies, like,
Well,
fun stuff.
well, that's what I'm saying. Like, and I believe it's all art. Anything, music, any kind of music that legit you put your heart and soul into these things, paintings, music, movies, whatever. Like, I do believe that it is very and it is very integral to passing on our ideas of our culture and stuff to the next generation through these pieces of art. Like we have pieces of art now from hundreds of is it thousands, at least hundreds of years ago.
Yeah. They're like cultural touchstones.
Yes,
Yeah.
and I believe that should carry over into the next 100 years with new stuff that's being added. I totally
Yeah.
believe in that thing. I just think that it shouldn't be feasible for everybody to do it. Now, like I said,
I mean,
you
it's
you,
not.
you said like influencers, podcasters, and stuff like that. I have enjoyed podcasts for 10 plus years. I really have, and I always wanted to start my own, and I did.
Yeah, yeah.
And I don't have a lot of viewers, whatever. And there's some people like, well, this is your niche thing. It's like it's not. It's not my niche thing. If people show up and enjoy the conversation, awesome, cool. If they want to keep coming back, awesome, cool. It's like I'm not doing it. I mean, obviously, like I want to grow,
But
obviously,
you have a full-time job. I
but
know you're not just like
right,
winging it and like hoping like your
yeah,
dream whatever comes true. Like I'm not comparing you directly
right,
like
right,
that because I think you're much more practical than that. I'm meaning like when kids are polled in high school and the like number one job is to be an influencer. They're like, and 20 years ago or 30 years ago, it was like to be an astronaut. It was to like do actual great things in the world. And now it's like
well,
to be DJ Khaled.
yeah.
It's like,
Well, growing
it's
up,
fucking depressing.
and I said this to a buddy of mine. I didn't really know like I had ideas of things that I thought would be cool jobs growing up in high school and stuff, but I had no idea what I wanted to go into high school and do. I just didn't know. But I always said growing up, like, and I can remember the saying, like, one day my kids, one day, like I always kind of knew that I was going to have children, but you don't hear that these days. And that's a weird shift in the culture for me because like
Yeah.
I wasn't married. I didn't have any plans to be married. When I was in junior high and middle school and stuff, I didn't have any of those. But like, I always knew like I would have kids one day. I grew up in a
Yeah.
big family and just new. And you see these people now like they don't want kids.
Yeah.
Just don't they don't want any
They don't want
responsibility.
responsibility.
Yeah, they
That's
want
what it
zero
is.
responsibility.
Yeah.
And
That's why they want to be influencers because they
right,
see it as an easy job.
yeah.
They're
And
like,
if
I
you
want
actually
as
talk to
little responsibility as
yeah,
possible.
actual influencers and actual YouTubers that work and do hundreds of hours of work and stuff like that,
Yeah, of
nuts.
course. Yeah, of
Yeah, there's
course.
nothing
Like
as
you want to be
yeah,
Mr. Beast? Like
yeah,
that's going to be your whole life.
yeah,
Like you're not ready for it. You're not actually equipped for it.
no,
It's not actually going to happen
yeah,
because
and
it's actually really fucking hard.
yeah, and everybody can have those dreams. I mean, hell, I even have those dreams. I was like, what would happen if the podcast blew up and I could interview like more famous people or whatever? If I had my following was high enough, that I could tweet at somebody and be like, "Hey, man, it'd be cool if you come on the podcast." That would be awesome. But I mean, like I said, I'm going to keep working at it because I actually enjoy this. I enjoy having
Yeah.
conversations with people,
Well, that's
talking
the number
about.
one thing. So you have to love it.
Yeah, I enjoy talking about it. The cool part about it is to me, and I explained this tonight last week, was like the topics and stuff I come up with. It's kind of like a lubricant for the conversation. Like we don't have to talk about every single thing, every single news article. I'm not reporting on the news. I'm
Yeah.
just touching on it, giving my reaction to it, and then
Yeah.
talking about nerd culture, entertainment, video games, stuff that I actually enjoy, I can be passionate about with other like-minded individuals. That's what this podcast is.
I think there is kind of like two approaches. Maybe there's more approaches, but I guess in my mind, there's kind of like two approaches to doing something like, shooting for the moon as far as like, I want to be an artist or I want to be a filmmaker. And one is to like throw yourself into the pit and be like, I'm doing it or I'm dying.
Yeah.
I'm going to just make films. And if I don't make films, I'm going to be homeless because I'm going to go
Yeah.
move to New York. I'm going to go live in a box. And that's kind of the path I went. So, like, I'm biased to that working because I think because of the way my brain works and the way that I function in the world, like, I'm a very all or nothing kind of person. And if I like got my dentist degree and I was going to be like, and once I save enough up enough money, I'm going to produce my own film and I'm going to try to get it into Sundance, but I'll be able to pay for all my. And if I would have done that, I would have just done dentistry. I would have, because like I literally am an idiot and can only focus on one thing seriously at a time.
I have been to me like I understand that sentiment, like all or nothing, like quit my job, go for it, have no choice but to do it because I have no there's no
It's very
safety net.
irresponsible.
Yeah, there's no safety net. But at the same time, my logical brain kicks in, but like, Chase, you like eating stuff, right? You don't like eating bologna
You
all the
like
time.
living in a house,
You like
right?
living in a house and shit like that. And I'm like,
Well,
so I
the thing
instantly
is, I
go
think both approaches work.
right.
You know what I mean? So,
Yeah,
like, I don't think it is. I think it's basically the kind of person you are kind of determines the approach you should take.
I will say that it stopped me a lot. Like there's been several, and I've told you about several like the business ideas that I wanted to get into, and then like that step into that unknown
Yeah,
petrified me, and I ended up not
yeah.
pulling the trigger on stuff. And just
Because you have
because,
this like responsible gene where you're like, I need
yeah,
to make sure that the lights stay on and all this other stuff, and that
well, and
takes
I
up
and
a
I've
lot of your time.
I've worked really hard. Like my house isn't the newest, biggest thing or whatever, but like it's my house. This is my house.
Yeah,
Well, mine and the banks, bank, whatever.
yeah.
But whatever. It's like
The
my
government's.
my pickup and my computer, my hobby and stuff like that. My room, like this is mine, and I've worked
Yeah,
my ass off to get this stuff. And I'd be damned if I lose it. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
for something is when I can keep working and I can keep maintaining. So the next little business deal is like very safe, very safe.
But you're making the podcast and you're doing it
Yeah,
every week. Like, I think that's great.
yeah. Well, and I'm trying to get into the goal for the online thing. Podcast once a week, every Thursday. I'm gonna try to do makeshift Mondays where I just work on stuff. Like and it like right now I'm working on a board game. I can work on a story. I put a desk in over here, like another desk that I'm going to set
It's
up
really
lights and
good.
stuff to, and I'm going to build like
Smart.
Legos or Gundam models, or just, just do not play video games, but just do shit, make shit money,
Yeah,
you
it's good for
know.
you.
And then like I'd like to do one more day a week where maybe I stream a game or just chat or whatever. I don't So like 3 days a week is where I'm kind of shooting for. I'm looking at getting into a little business for myself that will I can actually uh,
Keep your
keep
own
going. Like
hours.
I'm gonna do it on the side too, like in weekends and the evenings. And like if I can grow it big enough, I'm gonna quit my main day job and just do this full time, which will hopefully give me enough freedom to be able to do other
Great.
things.
That's
Uh,
rad.
and that's kind of the goal and the plan right now. But all the while trying to avoid ice cream, stay healthy, and all those things.
Oh man,
The TTRPG game, like I actually have a legit, like I want to get it finished and ready to go by July.
sick.
Uh, at least the core enough where I can play it and run a game. A D&D convention that my buddy's putting on that I want to play it at.
That's
So
cool.
I'm gonna try to make a big push for that and try to get it done. I actually had a really good stream. I don't know if you dropped in at all Monday when I had my stream,
No,
but
I was working late.
I sit out here and just was talking to myself and asking myself some of the questions that you brought up, and I'm like, and I just started writing down like just every idea that popped up, and then I had my dice tray and stuff out here, and I'd roll dice and kind of play test by myself or whatever to see if these things worked, and so I have some core thoughts like they still need balancing, they still need more play testing, obviously, but like I have some core
Great.
concepts that I think will be pretty cool. Um,
Right on.
this is kind of a fun, and like I haven't watched, like I should probably look up a YouTube video and like what are the steps in making a game, you know what I mean, like,
No, don't do that.
but yeah, you're right, like I'm at the point now where like that sounds like that would be terrible, but and then like I told my buddy Chuck, who's going to help me on this game, I said, look, I really want to get you on stream with me, at least on the phone or on Discord or whatever, and then lay everything out, and then like have you there, and then like have a couple other people there that'll ask the questions that I've clearly forgot about things. And I know I have. Like I know I'm missing shit. And I mean, it's just blocked off
Yeah,
from my brain right now.
put you through the ringer.
Yeah, and make me answer the questions that I don't know, that I don't even know are questions at this
Yeah,
point. That's what
yeah,
I
man. Let me
that's what
know
I
when.
want. And like, you know, I would like to turn this into like an actual module system that I could sell or whatever. I don't know if I.
Maybe you do Kickstarter. Who
Yeah,
knows?
I
Like
thought
people
about
do
it.
that.
And bringing some, I'm not going to say it's solo. I'll have my other collaborators in on it with me and try to make something. And like the tabletop scene there's very new age people in it right now. Then my buddy Chuck is 40s, uh, very
It's
old,
evergreen. It's got to
very
be.
yeah,
You
very
know,
old school.
games are just like intrinsic to humans. I think
Yeah, and
games are like
tabletop
little microcosms of life.
tabletop is such a cool experience to you try to describe it to people and they look at you like, oh, you're just playing with like miniature toys. It's like, yeah, technically that's exactly what I'm doing,
Yeah,
but there's more to it. Like, if you was
I
to
mean,
experience it, you would
yeah.
probably enjoy it.
You can break anything down to
Yeah,
sound pathetic.
yeah,
Oh, a book that's just like a bunch of letters all in a row.
right,
Ooh.
right, yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, anyway, it's one of those things, dude. It's
Well, I think you're doing great, man.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Like I said, man, I wanted to get you on here too after you told me your weight loss goals, and I knew what your goals were. You've definitely blown me out of the water on that. Hopefully, I'll
Well,
catch
like I
up.
said, I've had more time on my hands.
Yeah, but either way, you've at least been disciplined enough to stick with it and meet
Thanks,
your
man.
goals and stuff. Like I'm sure you still got ways to go. You said, but like,
Yeah, I just want to look good naked. It's a pretty tough
yeah,
goal.
I can see that. I'm kind of in the same boat now. Now that I lost a shirt size where I'm not 2XL, I'm just XL now. I'm like, man, I look kind of good
Nice.
right now. I'm like,
Yeah,
maybe I should
yeah.
get some profile pictures on the dating site again. Like,
Yeah,
I
dude.
don't feel like a giant fat piece of crap.
I bought like a thin shirt and I was like, that's too thin.
Yeah. I still like. There's still a ways to go. My ultimate goal. Uh, I'd love to get down sub 200 again, but right now with the 90-day carnivore diet that I'm doing, and like 210 is what I'm shooting for. And then if I get back to working out and like building muscle and stuff, if I start gaining weight doing that, that's different. Lose the visceral fat around my midsection that I've had
Yeah.
since I was 13 years old. You know,
Yeah, that's just good for your heart.
yeah. Well, that was actually the reason why I started this journey. Was father had a heart attack last year. I've lost uncles and stuff to heart disease in my family. It's just in my family, and not that we're the most healthy individuals eating a bunch of fried food. We don't do a bunch of physical exercise, so either way.
Food is
But
so good though.
it's one of those things like, well, if I don't change, and I felt it this time last year after my dad had a heart attack, I felt being short of breath. Uh, and I would see a video about, well, if you early onset heart disease has these symptoms, and I'm like, oh, you know what I mean, like,
I know.
and
They're like, if you sit at a computer for this many hours, then you're
yeah,
this much more likely to die. I'm like, oh no.
yeah, yeah, right. My but so I I've come a long way in a year, I do believe, because I quit smoking. I'd smoked for, well, on and off since I was 15 years old. I'd quit a couple times in between.
Great,
Um,
man.
this
Fucking
one,
A.
this one feels like it's actually going to stick because even when I'd quit before, like I would still bum a cigarette here and there. Like I don't even get that stinky shit away from me. Like I'm just
Yeah.
opposed, from it now.
Good for you.
Um, and then my eating habits, I've tried to eat much cleaner as far as like I ate bachelor food for a long time, and by bachelor food I mean like shit out of a bag into the air fryer, nice and chicken
Yeah.
strip.
Oh yeah.
And I ate that for a long time, and then I'm like, it's like, oh, that's got a lot of chemicals and a lot of preservatives and a lot of shit that's really not good for you.
Yeah.
And I tried to eat at least I don't avoid everything, but at the same time, like I look at every label now, like there's a bunch of shit that I can't pronounce. I put it up because I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't want that.
If you cut carbs and sugar, man, your visceral fat will go. Your cholesterol will be better. There's just like a lot of things. And I think once you swing into that, you're probably going to be like, and now I want to work out more, and now I want to,
Well, yeah, I mean, I do.
you
I
know,
definitely feel like I have more energy in this. The, the other day, I was like, I'm looking at doing like a lawn mowing business outside. I was like, I want to get outside. I
yeah,
sit inside of a truck all day, and then I'd come home and I'd sit inside this room for the rest of the
yeah.
evening. Like, I want to go outside again. Like, I feel like I need to be, and I feel like now that I'm lighter and more healthy, feeling in my mind is telling me, get off your fat ass and go outside and enjoy the outside.
You know what kind of kicked me off too is like I did a film crew job last year. Well, I don't know how many months ago, like 8 months ago or so. Just doing like helping crew, like setting up lights and moving cameras and stuff, and like I was dying because like it's a lot of work. Like
Yeah,
and we had like multiple locations, so we were like humping gear and setting up shit. And I know that I would just look like I was dying the whole time. My feet were in so much pain, and I just felt like I was letting my friend down, who like you know as a not necessarily as a favor, but he was like, yeah, let me get you on this crew and get you some money. And I was just dying. And now I'm like, man, call me on a job again. Like
yeah,
I want to show up now and just like hump all that gear like it's nothing. Like
right.
just be on my feet all day like it's nothing. So I get that.
Totally. Yeah, I mean, like, you know, it goes back to the testosterone levels thing because I almost got on testosterone replacement therapy last year too because
Oh really?
I
Do
went
you
and
ever
looked at
look
my
at your levels?
yeah I did I went and looked at my levels, they were low, 300 or something, which I don't
I've never
actually
looked at the levels, but I'm
uh,
sure it's low. Who
yeah,
knows?
well, obviously as we age it decreases, but it also I think it was decreased because diet, no exercise, no this, no, like
Yeah.
there's a lot of things that increase it that I was doing the opposite of anyway.
Yeah.
So
Being out in the sun
yeah,
increases it. Working out increases
talking to
it.
people, talking to women, you know what I mean? Like actually doing these things, being social. There's a
Yeah.
lot of things that triggers these chemicals. But I almost got on it and I talked myself out of it. Because it was one of those things like once you start it, you kind of got to do it forever because your body will stop producing.
Right.
Only way you'll be able to get it is artificial.
Yeah, I hate shit like that.
And
I
that,
don't want to be dependent on something.
yeah. And then the doctor I had I was like, well, can you give me more information on it? I said, I'm seeing a lot of benefits with it. Like there's a lot of people saying that it's good for them, but I also see that there could be like a downside to these things. He's like, well, you can Google it. And I'm like, well, fuck you. You know what I mean? Like, just zero help, doc. Thanks. That's why I came
Nice.
here.
Yeah.
Uh, and then immediately, my cholesterol was high this time last year. Like, immediately put you on, uh, they want to put me on cholesterol medicine. Like, no. They're like, what do you mean
I
no?
bet it's already better right now.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah. Really am. But they were like, dude, don't eat red meat, this, blah, 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 blah. And I was
You're
like,
like, I'm only gonna eat red meat.
yeah, pretty much. That's where I went to at this point. But it's so funny to me. Because I'd seen people talking about this about the cholesterol medicines. It attacks everything, and a lot of people that are on it, they feel like crap. All their joints hurt
Mm,
because it attacks good and bad cholesterol, and you need good
mm,
cholesterol for these things, to help heal. You actually need cholesterol for testosterone. That is one
mm.
of the key ingredients of testosterone is cholesterol. whatever those atoms or those cells are made of breaks down into testosterone.
Briscoe.
Excuse me. So anyway, yeah, so I skipped out on that, and I feel fine. Like I feel great. I was watching my diet, trying to get exercise, trying to feel better, and I need to go and check my levels again to see a year later what I'm like. My blood pressure's down.
Yeah.
I've always had fairly good blood pressure. But then like I went and got that checkup, and like my blood pressure was high for the first time ever, and I was like, wait
Really.
a minute, what the fuck? Uh,
Mine's high. Mine keeps being high. It like won't go down. I'm
yeah,
on meds for it now, but it's still like keeps being high, even though my cholesterol is low.
yeah,
I don't know what it is.
such a weird thing too.
Yeah, my heart just like pushes so hard. Like I'm like, calm down.
I've heard that, and like I said, I've never had any issues, and then they gave me one that was high, and I was like, "Oh fuck, what the fuck is happening?"
Yeah, a little wake up call.
It's this whole last year has been a wake up call, and honestly, I feel great. I'm making
Yeah.
plans now, trying to make plans for vacation stuff, to try to get away, go enjoy my life a little bit.
Proud of you, man.
Want to do some shit. Yeah, man, I'm proud. I'm proud of you too. I'm hoping Justin's doing good. I know he's been working his butt off lately, hasn't he?
He's been working. That's
Yeah,
I'm glad.
yeah.
Working hard.
I'm glad that's working out for him because I know it was rough at the beginning. He
I know he's
yeah,
got to hit the gym. He's just like,
yeah.
he won't talk about it. I'm like,
Uh, and that's the thing, man. Getting
although
to
he's always been like thin and
yeah,
just like naturally thin. He's one of those people with the super metabolism.
yeah. I can remember, when I worked with him 10 years ago or so. Any rail guy,
Yeah, we'd eat the
beanpole.
same thing, and I'm getting fat. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, yeah, man. It's been a good year. Aside from the craziness in the rest of the world, like personally, physically, I feel great. I'm gonna say personally, like wallet hurts a little bit, check bank account hurts a little bit here and there, but other than that, I'm doing pretty good.
I think we're coming back.
Yeah.
It's been a rough couple years.
I guess we can end it on some. What are you looking forward to playing? Dragon's Dogma out
Dragon's
now. I
Dogma
seen somebody
2
just
is ready
just
to install
launched.
right now. I haven't hit install because I don't want to mess up your stream, but it's
Right.
ready to go.
I seen one of my Steam friends that I guess a streamer or something that I jumped on their friends list just popped up saying that they are playing it. I guess.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Um,
I still have Baldur's Gate to go through. I'm gonna talk my brother into picking up our playthrough again.
man, yeah, that's rough. So rough because I've uninstalled it. Like I want to go back and play it, but at
Oh
the
yeah.
same time, I've got so many things that I want to play as well.
I still get to play Phantom Liberty. I haven't done that yet.
Yeah, me
Looking forward
neither.
to that. I got a lot of good games that I get to like kind of slowly play. I'm
I
still playing through
started my
Warhammer Rogue Trader, which I really like. That's their CRPG made by Alcat. Really
oh
cool
yeah,
company.
my
Another indie game, indie dev. I think it was a Kickstarter
what game was it again?
project. It's a Warhammer CRPG called Rogue Trader, like turn-based,
Oh, okay,
position-based
okay,
combat
right,
with
right,
like
right.
lots of story, really
Yeah,
deep
yeah,
character building.
you told me about that one.
It's
Uh,
like super violent. It's so fun. Like
oh,
you hit a dude with like a bolt and they just explode so hard. It's really awesome.
I that was one of the things about Baldur's Gate. Like you would just be covered in blood. Like my
Yeah,
guy was a rogue, right? So he was always up close stabbing people, and like he's
yeah,
just
yeah.
completely bloody in every cutscene because I've stabbed two people or
I
whatever.
know. And you'd like get another turn. You're like, and another turn, and then I stab
Yeah,
him again.
yeah.
It's pretty sick.
But yeah, no, it's kind of cool. Like I messed with the drop in drop out mechanic a little bit. I don't know if they
Yeah.
actually patched it. Like I had a buddy of mine join my game. He created his own character, come in at my level. I think I was like level 7 or something, 6 or 7 at the time, which is pretty high level in that game. Or maybe it was closer to 10. Yeah, 15 is cap. Anyway, um, come in,
It boosts him.
picked all of his spells and everything, and all of his and just as a test. Then when he left, I had a different friend join the game, but he couldn't create his own character, but he could play as the character my other
Mm,
buddy created. It was like a weird. I don't know if that's a
mm.
bug or what it was.
I think I saw a patch around that, so
Yeah.
I haven't messed with it, but it seems like they kind of have like they're at least thinking about or they have it enabled like you to be able to drop in and drop out and
What I still think would be a fantastic addition, expansion, whatever you want to wrap it up and call it, if they could make a roguelike dungeon crawler out
mm,
of that system. You know what I
yeah.
mean? Where like you go in, like this is a fifth level dungeon, so all your characters are gonna be fifth level. Now you pick all your skills. And it's just like an hour or two long dungeon you crawl through, and it's roguelike, so they'll all be different. So it's just like a random dungeon or scenario generator where you don't
Yeah.
have to follow this like overarching 7,000 branching path fucking story or something. We're just like a group of guys can play like a D&D game
Yeah.
online and you
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
have to think about much. Like that would be awesome, you know.
Are they going to do GM tools like they did for their previous games?
I don't know.
Cuz
I
that would be
haven't
dope.
heard.
Like a
It,
level builder so you can like
yeah. Well,
you know,
what I
be a
mean, like
GM.
even to take it a step further, is just make it like a randomized, like a tile system, like how Warframe is, where like there's different tile things or whatever, and it's just randomized. Random
Yeah.
monsters will pop up. Random loot will be in there.
I would be surprised if they're not doing something like that.
Yeah, to me, that'd
They're,
be
they have a lot of money to kind of like make new cool things inside their game. So
that'd be a gold mine, I think, honestly, and it'd be super fun. Like everybody was just like, "Hey man, let's go run around, let's go run a couple dungeons in this." Like, there's no like MMO where you have to do dailies and all this shit. Like, we just run a friggin' dungeon
yeah,
and play D&D together. I think it'd be awesome.
yeah, man, I'd
When
be down.
games start to turn into part time jobs, I'm out. Like,
Soon they'll be developed on the fly as you play them by AI.
man, I can't wait. I can't wait. And that's another thing, all these poor artists, AI's gonna take our jobs. I'm sorry. I think you couldn't work fast enough. My bad.
You don't care about artists, man. It's really
I
sad.
don't. I don't. I mean, I do and I don't. Do and I don't. Weird. It's a weird thing because, well, I don't care about the little bitchy whiny one. People that have been
Yeah,
artists and know how to make a living in that and will be fine regardless. But like,
maybe.
you think about that. So ideally, they've done this in anime, these VR games, animes or whatever, where the AI runs the system and it generates a unique monster. Well, there's not going to be an artist that draws that unique monster. If an AI is going to create a unique monster, unique scenario, it's going to create everything, the artwork included. So it's gonna, I mean, it's gonna suck because those jobs are gonna
There
Weird
could be a
because
backlash to it as well. And there could also
yeah,
be, there'll be developers who are like, nothing was AI,
right.
and that'll be like a selling point.
And there'll be games
So,
that sell like that, and there'll be people that want to buy them.
yeah,
But they're
we'll
like,
see.
if they could give me an RPG experience that is like wholly unique because I triggered this one scenario or whatever
Yeah.
randomly, that'd be awesome. But like I said,
Yeah, it seems like kind of the holy grail in some
yeah.
sense. But in other sense, no, because like also really believe in the storyteller as an entity because I mostly think the audience doesn't know what it wants. And the audience is like if the audience got what they wanted, like movies would be shit mostly. Because like
Well,
they
that's what
just want the
the
person they like to win. You know what I mean? Like what they
well,
want are
yeah.
like selfish things that aren't
Well,
necessarily good storytelling.
that's another kind of problem with Hollywood too, is they keep going what they think is the safer bet, the reboots and stuff. But
Oh
there's
yeah.
no like originalities.
Yeah.
I can kind of see that as well. It's a I don't know,
But then
man.
again, I mean also again, I just have to point out that we're in like an oversaturated reality where like more movies come out now than when we were 15, or when I was 15. Because I think like where is our Back to the Future? Like, where is our cultural touchstone movie that like everybody saw, everybody loved, everybody references? And like we have those a little bit, but it seems like it gets weaker and weaker
Well,
every decade.
they
Because there
got
was like
washed
Twilight, I
away
guess,
by the flood of everything
by
else.
the flood of everything else. So what I mean to say is like I think there are still very original and great films being made. There's just so much other shit that it gets washed away. And also, the culture is not honed in like a beam on the one piece of great art because everybody is like looking to what's been specifically made for them. And to me, that's kind of like why AI might be really fucking ass for art because everyone's going to be looking inward at what AI generates for them specifically, as opposed to what our luminaries and
Right.
visionaries like created and we all look at and we all understand as the thing. So maybe it'll be utopia, maybe it'll be fucking hell.
I think that
Jury's still out.
it would be cool if it was if it was done like I said the anime style where it's like a giant MMO where the world the whole community, the whole player base or whatever has to come together for these random events. Like it's a cool theory. It's a theory or a dream or whatever. But like that would be an interesting way to play a
Love to
game like
try it.
that. Yeah, and
And
then
film as
also
well,
like
like maybe the whole DEI thing is going to totally be eclipsed because you'll be like, I want to watch a film written in the style of Quentin Tarantino, starring Denzel Washington, a horror thriller. Surprise me with the ending, and I want the villain to be James, whoever the fuck, you know what I mean? And then like you watch a movie totally catered to you, and then it's like, you know, you see movies with whoever the fuck you want now, as opposed to like studios, hemming and hawing about who they're supposed to have according to like the culture.
right. Yeah, man, it's a crazy future, and I definitely see that there's still a market for like the custom. This guy, this team, this group of people did it with no AI, hand drawn, blah blah blah. I still see a giant market for stuff like that.
Yeah,
Um,
but it's scary, man. I look at
yeah,
Sora. I see some of those shots that Sora made, and I'm just like, this is in its infancy. And I think about it like how a calculator can do long division. Like think about how quickly and accurately a
right,
calculator does long division versus you doing it in your head or
right,
with a pen and paper. Like it's going to do that for film. You know, you're going to be like, a camera angle that starts from here and goes through the window and through the eye of a needle and then around to this guy who throws in, you know what I mean? Like and
right.
it'll just do it and exposure perfect, focus perfect, scene setting flawless, like special effects completely composited, perfection. So for filmmakers, I'm especially post production. I'm
Well,
just post production is so fucked.
there was a rumor or something. I'd heard this the headline that Tyler Perry was fixing to open up a eighty
Oh yeah,
million dollar studio in Atlanta.
he saw Sora and he was like,
Also, and canceled it.
nah,
Uh, it's crazy,
dude,
man.
my My wife, who, she's a member of SAG, and, SAG was a big part of all of the the, not protests,
Yeah, the writer's strike and
the strike. And, they all had to like in solidarity not work and stuff. And anyway, they went to this meeting, I think over Zoom, and the representative from the guild said that he had talked to the studios and said that it was cost prohibitive to be replaced by AI. Like they're not going to do it. And I was just like, he is so full of fucking
yeah.
shit. Like they don't need actors anymore. They don't even need a model. They can be like a person who looks like this. They can take a photo and it'll have like they don't have to map your whole. They were talking as if like taking the 3D photo of an actor and placing him in the film still costs too much. Like, don't worry about it. I was like, you guys are fucked. Like, that guy's full of shit. Like, if you know that, and it's free. This technology, and I mean, if you look at Sora, Sora is incredible. That's going to probably be similar to the tool that they release to the public or with the subscription fee. Imagine the LucasArts specialized Sora engine that is like better than the one that you're going to pay. It's one that is built specifically for a studio. It's going to be fucking unreal. It's
I'm
going to be unreal.
still super curious about AI stuff. I just don't have the brains to try to learn it. Like I'd love to be able to build my own. So the theory behind the Aya thing is like I would like to be able to have an AI co-host that I can talk to and interact with that would interact back, without having to like type in a keyboard and all this shit. Like just
Yeah.
talk like a conversation and be able to answer. You know, that's what I want. Uh, it hasn't happened yet, obviously, but it's one of those things like down the
I
road.
just need a better program. Someone that knows AI.
Yeah,
Little.
I definitely need an actual programmer or stuff. Like I've looked up. I installed like I went through and followed steps and actually installed an AI on this PC, but I haven't even touched it since. And it was a pain in the ass. I had to like open up. Which I mean, that's you had to open up all your scripts and shit to get to it, and like, that's the coding part of it. Uh,
Yeah.
I'm just there's something I'm
I
not
imagine
used
it's
to.
just chat. It's just
Yeah,
tapping into OpenAI or something similar, right?
yeah. I was actually yeah, I actually
Or Chat GPT.
yeah. It was a Chat GPT engine. And then like two or three other programs that I guess all kind of mesh together, but like they laid out the steps on how to set it up, and I got it to work. It wasn't an online one through a server. That's why those are that's why you are charged for basically for the server fee, more or less. Those websites, those AI, like it's all open source, and they've worked on this AI program, and then they put it on a website. But they have to charge you that because if you keep generating images all the time, then it's going to rack up
Yeah.
their server bill. So they
It
have to
works their
make the
servers.
money.
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
Yeah, you can like download some of the models, the what do they call it? Something diffusion. Uh, the
Stable
image
diffusion.
stable diffusion. I know you can like download those models and like run them locally on your system, so you're not like tapping into a server.
Yeah, the
That's
thing
kind of like
was,
the next level
yeah, the,
integration.
the problem with that one was because I'm running an AMD card, a graphics card. It had to run off my CPU instead. If it was NVIDIA, you could run it off an NVIDIA, but like I guess whoever made it wasn't on the AMD cards or whatever. So
I
I was
used AI
limited.
today
Yeah, I was
because I
limited.
made I was pitching to direct this project for the Times, and they wanted me to give them a menu of options. They said, and so I made like a literal menu, and I had like the little like icons on the menu
Yeah.
drawn as like characters from the
Oh, that's
story,
cool.
and pretty
I'm
funny.
still terrible at AI art. Like I can get a general body shape, but like getting stuff detailed down, like I guess my
It's not
imagination's not
easy.
is not as high as it needs
It's
to
kind of
be.
like learning to trick the AI, but I wasn't using like Midjourney. It was just
Yeah, yeah. I was just
Adobe's
like
the one that's in the beta. That one's pretty cool.
I said, I'm just
It's pretty jank, but
talking
if you're
out
doing
loud.
something simple,
Like
I
I
mean,
said,
what's
there's
great is to be like change the shirt to a red shirt. What's so great about it is not only does it do that, but it also like the light that's refracting or bouncing off of the shirt, and then like would give you a little red like subtle thing you wouldn't even think about like on
right.
the skin. Like it does that shit. Like the composite
Oh, nice. Yeah.
is flawless, which is why post production is totally fucked. Because those are all the little tricks you do as a post the special effects artist, you'd be like, I know how to like make this glow and, make it look like it's really in the scene. AI can do that better than any person can.
And I watched you edit that for YouTube series and blown away. Like I can barely, flip two scenes together more or less. I'm freaking terrible at that shit. And I've gotten,
Just
I've
practice.
gotten faster doing the which the podcast edit's very minimal, more or less. And I want to add more stuff
You gotta
to it.
edit me to sound smart and cogent,
Yeah, I need to. Well, I much forgotten all that shit.
coherent. I mean,
I opened up that sound thing again. I was like, what? What the? Totally forgot. I have to do it 2 or 3 times to like, I guess, get in the muscle memory
yeah, me
to
too.
do
I'm
that
a
stuff.
real do it learner for sure.
So it's one of those things. Yeah,
All right,
man.
man.
Yeah, dude, it's been
Let's
2
wrap
hours.
her up.
Been a great podcast, dude. Thank you so much for jumping in. I thought thought he was supposed to message me when he was free, but he never did. What's
That's all
going on?
good. Maybe he's busy with his mom
Yeah, hopefully
or
she had a good birthday. Wishing
whatever he's
Eli
actually doing.
Eli Mama the bestest of birthdays. Um, man, thank you for jumping in last minute. I'm gonna
Of
try to
course.
start getting some more guests and stuff lined up. I got a couple more weeks. I jump on that other podcast and join them. I'm gonna
Cool.
start mine early that day and then end it early. Jump straight from my podcast onto theirs. Kind of the plan. Um,
Right on,
I
man.
I just want to experience that. Jump on somebody else's podcast and we'll
Sure.
see. We may not click at all. Who knows? I don't. I haven't watched.
I'm sure you will.
They podcast the same time we do, so I don't really get a chance to watch their stuff. But um, I mean, I guess I could be up their YouTube video or whatever. I just
No, don't do that.
don't do no research. Yeah, man. Thank you so much for joining me. This has been episode number 14 of Intelligent Aces podcast with my good friend Bushwicked. We will catch you again next Thursday. Uh, have a great night. Hey guys, thanks for checking out another episode of Intelligent Aces podcast. Be sure to like and subscribe here on YouTube and go follow us on Twitch and X. And all the rest of our socials will be posted down below. Thanks.